You may think that decluttering is simply about getting rid of things, but it's far deeper than that. It's about facing your past, recognizing the moments that have shaped you, and understanding that time continues to move forward, whether we are ready or not. Decluttering in later years is not just about deciding which things to keep and which to toss. It's a deeper reflection, a confrontation with the emotions tied to those things and the realization that some chapters of your life are now behind you. The objects around you, each book, each tool, each piece of clothing, represent more than just possessions. They hold memories, experiences, and parts of who you used to be. Letting go of them can feel like letting go of parts of your identity, and that's not always easy. But here's the beauty in it. Letting go makes room for new memories and experiences. As you look at those items, consider what they represent. The books that once inspired you, the tools that told the story of your projects, or even that old suit that reminded you of a celebration. These are not just things, they are markers of the life you've lived. But they don't define who you are today or who you are yet to become. Letting go is not losing yourself. It's freeing yourself from the weight of unnecessary things, giving yourself space to move forward with clarity. Every time you choose to release an item, you're not saying goodbye to a part of you. You're opening the door to your next chapter, a chapter where you continue to grow, evolve, and experience new joys, surrounded by what truly matters now. So, take a deep breath and think about what you can release. There's no rush, no pressure, just an invitation to create more room for love, peace, and purpose. Your memories are safe within you, and your next chapter is waiting to unfold. Release the burden of guilt and embrace freedom. The truth is, holding on to objects doesn't bring back the past, nor does it keep people alive. Those items, whether they are gifts from loved ones or things once cherished, do not preserve moments in time. Guilt often creeps in during the decluttering process. You might look at an expensive coat that's never been worn and feel guilty for not using it more. Perhaps you were taught that throwing things away is irresponsible, or that each item holds value because of the resources that went into creating it. But here's the key. Keeping something out of guilt doesn't add value to it. An unused item doesn't honor its purpose. It only takes up space and weighs on your mind. And what about the fear of regret? The thought that you might need something one day, or that you'll wish you had kept it. It's a real concern, but most of the things we hold on to out of fear don't truly serve us in the future. In fact, letting go creates room for clarity and peace. You don't need to fear the future when you've already given yourself permission to move forward without the clutter. Remember, memories, love, and respect are not stored in objects. They reside in you. The connections, the wisdom, and the love you share are not diminished by releasing unnecessary possessions. When you let go, you are not discarding your past. You are making room for your present and future. Letting go of generational expectations. One of the hardest realizations in this process, especially later in life, is that the things you've carefully saved for your children or grandchildren may not hold the same value for them. You might have imagined passing down heirlooms, furniture, or collectibles, only to be met with indifference or even refusal. It can feel like your memories, your history, and your identity are being dismissed. But here's something powerful to remember. Times change, and so do tastes and values. The younger generation today often favors minimalism, functionality, and convenience over sentimentality. The heavy oak dining table or the delicate china you've cherished may no longer have a place in their homes, but that doesn't mean they don't value you. In fact, The greatest inheritance you can leave behind isn't in things. It's in the lessons you've taught, the love you've shared, and the wisdom you've imparted. Your true legacy is not defined by the objects you own, but by the way you've lived your life and the impact you've made on others. Create new opportunities for your belongings. Instead of holding on to things, hoping that someone will want them later, have open conversations with your family about what they truly value. You might be surprised to learn that the things they cherish most aren't physical objects at all. They're handwritten letters, shared stories, or even a special recipe that connects them to the past. The beauty of memories lies in relationships, not in things. So, consider giving items a second life elsewhere. Donate them, sell them, or repurpose them for someone who will truly appreciate them. Let go of the pressure of holding on to possessions just because you feel obligated. You don't have to keep things around to prove their value. By releasing them, you free both yourself and the objects to find a new home, a new purpose, and a new chapter in someone else's life. Less is more. As the saying goes, the more you own, the harder life becomes. This is a truth that often goes unnoticed until the weight of possessions starts to interfere with your daily living. What once felt comforting, having everything you need within reach, eventually turns into an obstacle. It can weigh on you, physically and mentally. Letting go of what no longer serves you isn't just about decluttering your space. It's about decluttering your mind and heart, too. Freedom comes from releasing the excess, allowing you to live more fully and intentionally. Let go of the burden and embrace the peace that comes with living in the present, with less but richer in experience, relationships, and memories. The emotional and mental weight of clutter. The weight of clutter doesn't just take up physical space, it also takes up valuable space in your mind. Every drawer filled with old papers, every closet packed with unused clothes, and every shelf stacked with forgotten trinkets demands your attention, even if it's only in the background. Over time, this accumulation creates a sense of stress, exhaustion, and a feeling of being trapped. A cluttered space makes even the simplest tasks more difficult. Looking for an important document becomes a frustrating search through piles of papers. Moving through a crowded hallway means carefully navigating around things that no longer serve a purpose. Cleaning takes longer as every surface is covered with items that need to be dusted, moved, or organized. What once felt like a space of comfort can slowly start to feel like a burden. The more clutter you have, the more overwhelmed you become, and this feeling only intensifies as you age. Physical limitations make it harder to bend, climb, or navigate through your home, turning what once felt like sentimental treasures into tripping hazards. What was once a place filled with memories can slowly morph into an obstacle course. And as movement becomes more restricted, your sense of independence starts to fade. But the weight of clutter is not just physical, it's psychological. Every item in your home carries a decision. Should it stay? Should it go? What if I need it someday? The mental load of constantly making these choices leads to decision fatigue, making you feel overwhelmed by too many options. When your environment is cluttered, your mind becomes cluttered as well. Studies have shown that excessive clutter can increase anxiety, reduce focus, and even contribute to feelings of depression. The chaotic space around you makes it difficult to feel at peace. The brain craves order, and when it's surrounded by too much stuff, it struggles to find clarity. Decluttering, a path to mental and physical freedom. Letting go of unnecessary belongings isn't just about tidying up. It's about reclaiming space, both physically and mentally. A home with fewer things is easier to navigate, easier to clean, and easier to enjoy. The air feels lighter, your mind feels clearer, and life becomes simpler. True security doesn't come from holding on to possessions. It comes from the ability to move freely, live without unnecessary burdens, and focus on what truly matters. Decluttering is not about loss. It's about creating an environment that supports your well-being, peace of mind, and a life that's easier to manage. The fewer things you have weighing you down, the more freedom you gain in return. But here's an important truth. Decluttering is not a one-time event. It's not something you do when you finally have the time or energy to sort through everything you've accumulated over the years. The truth is, it's an ongoing process. If you don't actively manage what comes into your home, clutter will return, sometimes faster than before. One of the main reasons people struggle to maintain a clutter-free space is that they focus only on removing things, without addressing the habits that led to accumulation in the first place. Even if you clear out an entire room, it won't stay that way unless you change the way you interact with possessions. This means being intentional about what you bring into your life and questioning whether something truly adds value before acquiring it. It also means setting boundaries, not just with yourself, but sometimes with others who continue to give you things you don't need. Embracing decluttering as a long-term process. Decluttering is emotionally exhausting. Sorting through a lifetime of belongings forces you to confront memories, past decisions, and even regrets. It's mentally taxing to repeatedly ask yourself whether something should stay or go. For many, that emotional fatigue leads to avoidance, and that's why clutter builds up again. The key to making decluttering sustainable is to integrate it into your routine, rather than waiting until things pile up to an overwhelming degree. Many people also underestimate just how much time it takes to declutter meaningfully. If you've spent decades accumulating possessions, it will take time to go through them properly. Rushing the process often leads to regret, either from discarding things too hastily or from keeping too much because you didn't have the mental clarity to make the right decisions. Accepting that decluttering is a long-term process allows you to approach it with patience, making decisions with intention rather than urgency. Living in a decluttered space. A lifelong journey. The final challenge in this journey is accepting that even after you've decluttered, you'll continue to make decisions about your space for the rest of your life. There is no perfect endpoint where everything is settled forever. Instead of seeing decluttering as a finish line, it's better to view it as a way of life, a continuous process of evaluating what truly matters, letting go of what doesn't, and creating an environment that supports the life you want to live. The freedom that comes from a clutter-free space isn't a one-time reward. It's something that must be maintained every day, through choice after choice. Letting go is not just about discarding things. It's about creating a life that aligns with your values and supports your well-being. Every time you release something unnecessary, you create more space for what truly matters: your relationships, your health, and your peace of mind.